Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today, our mission is to figure out if you, yes, you listening right now, have an actual, literal, cosmic other half.
It is quite the concept to wrap our heads around.
Oh, totally. We are exploring this wildly mind-bending 2015 essay by an author named Zhu Feng. It's titled Exploration of Life, Quantum Entanglement, and the Other.
Right, and it's a dense one.
Yeah. So to get us started, I want you to think about that feeling when you're just, sitting there on a totally normal Tuesday. You're drinking your coffee, and out of nowhere, you get hit with this massive, unexplainable wave of anxiety.
Or the flip side of that, right? Maybe you're stuck in awful traffic, and suddenly you feel this overwhelming surge of joy that just makes no sense in context.
Exactly. And I mean, most of us just write those moments off, right?
Yeah, we blame a random blood sugar spike or maybe having way too much caffeine.
Right. We assume our emotions are entirely self-contained inside our own biological systems.
But we should probably establish right away that we're going to look at this essay not as a peer-reviewed hard science physics paper.
Definitely not.
Think of it more as a provocative thought experiment. It's a philosophical mind game that borrows the language of cutting-edge physics to force us to examine our inner lives, from a radically different angle.
A completely different angle. So
Yeah.
I guess we have to start this exploration down at the microscopic level, right? With quantum entanglement.
Yeah, Su Feng uses that phenomenon as the foundation for everything else in the text.
Because in quantum physics, you have these two entangled particles that can be separated by 100 light years, but they still act in absolute instantaneous unison.
Right, there is no delay whatsoever.
And the author proposes that if one particle, in a metaphorical sense, smiles, the other particle will also smile at the exact same moment.
It mirrors it completely.
Yeah, if one cries, the other cries. Okay, let's unpack this because we really need to be clear about the mechanics here.
Go for it.
Subatomic particles don't actually have emotions.
No, they definitely do not.
The author is just using smiling and crying as a stand-in for energetic states, spin, momentum, polarization.
Exactly.
It's an analogy for an invisible, instantaneous link. Kind of like two dancers matching moves perfectly across the cosmos without ever seeing each other or even hearing the same music.
What's fascinating here is how the author maps that physical entanglement onto the philosophical concept of affinity.
Affinity, right.
Yeah, when two elements possess affinity, distance and time just cease to be barriers. There's this mutual, instantaneous resonance.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. And to explain how that works, the essay relies heavily on ancient Tai Chi or yin-yang thinking.
Right, the idea that the universe is fundamentally constructed from unified opposing factors.
Exactly. Light and dark, soft and hard, beautiful and ugly.
Because you can't have a concept of up without a concept of down. The existence of one inherently necessitates the other.
They define each other mechanically.
Yeah.
And in modern physics, we actually see this symmetry in matter and antimatter, or particles and antiparticles. Quantum entanglement, within the framework of this essay at least, is the literal manifestation of that profound connection between opposing forces.
They are completely inseparable, vibrating together in what Zhu Feng calls 1,000 years of harmony.
That's a very poetic way to phrase it.
Yeah, it is. But we must remember they are fundamentally opposed in their nature.
Right, they are opposites.
So what does this all mean, practically speaking for us? Here's where the essay makes this massive leap from the subatomic all the way to the human scale.
A huge leap.
Zhu Feng argues that if every single thing in the universe is built on this law of unified opposites, if matter has non-material, if every particle has a corresponding antiparticle, then human beings, as a complex form of matter, must also have an opposing counterpart.
An anti-human, so to speak.
Right, an anti-human.
And, the logic is actually quite compelling. If the entire architecture of the cosmos relies on symmetry to maintain its structure, carving out an exception just for human beings really disrupts that balance.
It breaks the rules of the universe.
Exactly. The author posits that this other half is a mathematical necessity for the universe to function.
But then, to explain how you could be connected to someone you've literally never met, living an entirely separate life, the source brings up this fantastic logic puzzle.
Oh, the instantaneous state change example.
Yeah. It's about a pregnant woman going into labor.
Right.
So imagine the very millisecond she gives birth to that baby, her own mother instantly becomes a grandmother.
Right. Her status changes immediately.
Exactly.
Right.
And it does not matter if that mother is sitting in the hospital waiting room or if she is working in a research station on Mars.
The physical distance is irrelevant.
Right. The state changes instantaneously across space, requiring absolutely zero travel time for the information to arrive.
That analogy perfectly isolates the mechanism of quantum non-locality.
It really does.
Because the woman on Mars didn't receive a radio transmission saying, hey, you are now a grandmother.
Right. She just is what?
Her fundamental status in the universe shifted the exact moment the opposing factor, the grandchild, came into existence.
That is so cool to think about.
It is, but this raises a really important question about the essay. What happens if this other half doesn't actually exist?
Oh, right. The stakes.
The essay is very clear on the stakes. If we lack a counterpart, the universal law of the unity of opposites basically collapses.
Yeah.
Structural integrity of reality fails.
Well, since reality hasn't collapsed on us today, we kind of have to proceed with the assumption that this anti-human is out there.
We do.
And the implications of that are staggering. Shifeng suggests that our energetic states are linked just like those subatomic particles we talked about.
Meaning they mirror each other.
Right. So when your counterpart reaches the climax of joy, you experience a ripple of it. When they are in absolute agony, you suffer.
So that means that random wave of anxiety we talked about at the very beginning of the deep dive, that might actually belong to your cosmic doppelganger.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They're facing a threat, their energetic frequency spikes into panic, and because you are permanently entangled with them, your own emotional state resonates with that exact same frequency.
You are basically catching the quantum reverberations of their reality.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
But, I mean, if my mood is constantly being hijacked by someone across the galaxy, my immediate instinct is that I need to find them.
Of course. That's human nature.
But how do you locate someone you don't even know? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The author actually provides a map.
But it isn't a map of physical coordinates, like longitude and latitude?
No, not at all. It's an emotional tracker.
Right.
Because you and your antiparticle share these resonant frequencies, your current baseline emotional state acts as a compass pointing directly to their location.
So we kind of transition from using a telescope to looking inward at ourselves.
Exactly. And the essay categorizes this emotional mapping into 4 distinct realms.
It's essentially a complex system of frequency matching.
Let's break down those 4 categories. So first, if your baseline state is constant joy, happiness, and just a general sense of freedom, the essay claims your other half is located in heaven.
Okay, that's one.
Second, if your life is entirely driven by desire and greed, like an obsession with money, power, fame, or lust, then your counterpart is grounded right here on Earth in the mundane world.
Because those earthy desires act as a really heavy, dense frequency, anchoring your entangled pair to the material plane.
That makes total sense within the logic. So third, if you are perpetually anxious, worried, fearful, and just filled with dread all the time, your counterpart exists in the animal world.
Driven entirely by base survival instinct.
Right, constantly hunting or being hunted. And finally, the fourth one, if your default setting is rage, severe agitation, or deep depression, your other half is currently residing in hell.
And we should clarify, the text uses these terms heaven, earth, animal world, hell, not necessarily as literal geographic places with, like, pearly gates or fire and brimstone.
Right, it's not a cartoon drawing of hell.
Exactly. They are distinct vibrational planes of existence, different densities of consciousness that correspond to specific emotional bandwidths.
I honestly read this like a cosmic mood ring.
A cosmic mood ring, I like that.
Yeah. Your mood isn't just a fleeting psychological event, it's a literal GPS coordinate for your doppelganger.
Right.
And the source mentions that by tuning into this compass, you can locate them across 20 parallel worlds and 36-dimensional spaces.
It gets very granular.
It does. But I have to ask, why 36 dimensions? Where does that specific number come from?
Well, it stems from a broader cosmological model the author uses, suggesting reality is layered far beyond our standard 3 dimensions of space and one of time.
Okay, so it's a much bigger framework.
Yeah, the 36 dimensions basically represent different densities of existence.
Yeah.
A third-dimensional being cannot easily perceive a fourth-dimensional structure.
Oh, sure. Like a drawing on a piece of paper trying to understand a 3D cube.
Precisely. Which is why finding your counterpart requires navigating these layers by deeply aligning your internal frequency with theirs.
But why go through all that trouble?
We definitely need to understand why the author insists this search is completely mandatory. Zhuofeng uses the metaphor of a kite flying on its own.
Which, I'll admit, sounds really peaceful at first, but it really isn't.
Not at all. I mean, think about the actual mechanics of kite flying. If you are a kite without someone holding the string on the ground, you don't actually fly.
Right, you just blow away.
You are completely at the mercy of the wind, which in this metaphor represents the chaotic external forces of the material world.
So you have no control.
None. To achieve stable, purposeful flight, a kite requires an anchor. It needs opposing tension.
There's that word again, opposing.
Yes. Without your other half providing that tension, you are forever incomplete, unable to achieve true self-harmony and trapped in a passive cycle in the mundane world.
You essentially need to form a higher level complete structure.
Exactly. And the essay points to the Tai Chi diagram. The iconic yin and yang fish swirling together is the ultimate blueprint for this.
Okay, I can picture that.
That diagram visually represents the self-harmonious closed-loop structure that life requires to actually reach its highest potential.
Okay, so we track our mood, we navigate the 36 dimensions of consciousness, we provide the tension for the kite string, and we finally find them.
The grand reunion.
The ultimate cosmic meetup. But this brings us to the climax of the essay, and I have to say, this is where the mechanics of the physics really made me slam on the brakes.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to bring up.
Shebang explains what physically happens when we meet this other half by invoking the quantum annihilation effect.
Yes, the intersection of physics and philosophy becomes quite literal here.
Too literal for my taste.
Well, in particle physics, when matter and antimatter collide, they undergo complete mutual destruction.
Hold on, you're losing me. You're saying that when a particle and an antiparticle finally meet, they release a massive burst of energy and just completely vanish.
They annihilate each other.
They annihilate each other, and Shifeng is applying this to us.
Yes, directly to the human experience.
So if I finally achieve cosmic completeness, I navigate 36 dimensions, I meet my other half, and we just instantly perish together. We explode into nothingness.
That is the assertion, yes.
How is spontaneous cosmic combustion the goal here? That sounds like a terrible reward for a universe-spanning quest.
I get the reaction, I really do. Viewed strictly through a material lens, it sounds like the worst possible outcome.
Right, sounds like game over.
But to understand the author's logic, we have to examine the three essential elements of the universe, as defined in the essay: consciousness, structure, and energy.
Okay, let's look at those three: consciousness, structure, energy.
When that quantum annihilation occurs, the physical structure, meaning the biological body, is indeed destroyed.
Okay.
The energy bound up in that matter is released. But the third element, consciousness, operates in a completely different rule set.
It doesn't follow the physics.
Right. Weffing argues that consciousness is a non-material existence, is the very essence of life itself. Therefore, the annihilation of the physical body does not equate to the death of consciousness.
Oh, so the consciousness actually survives the explosion.
Yes.
It's a metamorphosis rather than an execution.
A profound transformation, actually. By perishing together materially, the newly unified consciousness is liberated from the heavy, restrictive laws of the physical world.
It breaks free.
Exactly. It ascends to a higher dimensional realm. The essay describes this as entering the Elysium world, attaining Buddhahood, or becoming a celestial being.
Okay, that sounds much better than just blowing up.
Right. The physical disappearance is merely the shedding of a lower density form in order to graduate to the highest realm of life.
It's kind of like the caterpillar dissolving into organic soup inside the chrysalis to become the butterfly.
That's a perfect analogy.
Because from the outside, it looks like total destruction, but it's actually the only way to build the wings.
Exactly.
Well, that definitely reframes the bursting into nothingness problem.
Yeah.
But as beautiful as that metamorphosis sounds, the essay presents a massive, infuriating paradox.
The catch-22.
Right, a catch-22 that seems to make this whole pursuit physically impossible. Because we have to remember that you and your other half are unified, but you are fundamentally opposed.
You are the ultimate opposites by definition.
So try to imagine catching your own reflection in a mirror, but the mirror is programmed to avoid you.
Right.
Think of two magnets with the exact same polarity. If you push one forward to make contact, the invisible magnetic field physically forces the other one backward.
It repels it.
Yeah. If you take a step left to grab them, their opposing nature dictates they must step right. If you raise your frequency to ascend to them, they descend.
The author playfully describes them as mischievous and willful.
Willful is one word for it.
The harder you try to force the connection, the further away they get. It is quite literally a cosmic game of hide and seek that is baked into the fundamental laws of physics.
But wait, if the laws of the universe physically prevent us from ever catching them, are we just doomed to be kites blowing in the wind forever?
Well, the author doesn't leave us entirely without a path forward.
Thank goodness.
There is a deeply contemplative quote in the essay. If one contemplates the heavens and earth often, one will eventually understand the profound principles.
Hmm.
Sufeng suggests that through deep philosophical contemplation and inner stillness, meeting one's other half actually becomes possible.
So it's about ceasing the aggressive pursuit.
Exactly.
Oh.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the universe contains no absolute impossibilities if you align with its flow, rather than constantly fighting its mechanics.
Okay, but just as we finally wrap our heads around this impossible chase, the author pulls off one final twist that completely upends everything we've talked about for the last 15 minutes.
A major paradigm shift right at the end.
Yeah, we've been operating this entire time on a binary system. Pairs. One particle, one antiparticle, me and my one true cosmic doppelganger.
But the reality of quantum mechanics is far more complex than simple pairs.
Right.
The author explicitly states that this entire exploration up to this point has been a hypothesis, a mind game, to get us thinking outside our normal boundaries.
A setup.
Exactly. Then, they introduce the true nature of quantum entanglement. It isn't limited to just two particles.
No, it's not.
Entanglement refers to non-local, strong correlations between two or more quantum systems.
Two or more. That completely shatters the idea of the single anti-human. We aren't just entangled with one counterpart.
We aren't searching for a cosmic soulmate, no.
We have affinity and entanglement with many, many factors in the universe simultaneously.
We are not just on a binary bungee cord with one other entity. We are woven into a massive, multidimensional, unimaginably complex web of cosmic connections.
That is such a staggering realization to land on. I mean, we started this deep dive looking at synchronized particles.
Right.
We learned how to use our emotions as a 36-dimensional GPS tracker. We faced the terrifying prospect of quantum annihilation, all just to realize that our web of connection is infinitely larger than a single counterpart.
Expansive. It really is. It has been an incredible journey working through Xu mind game. Thank you for coming along on this deep dive with us and for being willing to look at the universe through such a wildly different lens.
It's a text that demands you stretch your imagination to its absolute limits. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder a question that builds directly on that revelation about multiple entanglements.
Oh, lay it on us.
If our consciousness survives physical annihilation, and if we are truly entangled with dozens, hundreds, or maybe millions of different quantum systems across the universe, rather than just one counterpart, is it possible that our everyday individual self doesn't actually exist at all? What if what we call me, the person drinking the coffee, feeling the anxiety, driving the car, is just one tiny temporary node in a massive universe-spanning neural network of shared cosmic consciousness? That changes everything. So the next time you get that sudden, unexplained wave of emotion on a quiet Tuesday, maybe you don't just brush it off. Take a second, sit in the feeling, and say hello to the rest of the universe. Stay curious, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.